I think you're going to have some added applications to work at the heat. Okay, so I know, I know. So I am thrilled to be able to host this conversation with someone that I actually met a month ago, but somebody whose career I have followed for many, many years, Reina Mejía. Reina, thank you for coming down from DC. We have better weather here at this time, so we know that's always an attraction. So by way of background, Reina is originally from Honduras. She's a senior advisor at Think Huge Business and Investment Council that invests projects in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. And she's also external public sector member of the Performance Management Board at the United Nations. But previously, she spent 25 years at Citi, becoming the first local woman as CEO and corporate and investment head of Citi Honduras, and also served as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the Inter-American Development Bank. So just to name a few of her accomplishments, quite extraordinary. But you know, what really impacted me, just meeting you really, is besides her professional achievements, I think your story is one of resilience, of determination, and what's interesting to me is making the really hard decisions when she had to make them. A very human story. So I think many of us will learn from that. So let's start at the beginning. So you graduated from college, you're living in Houston, and your career takes an interesting turn when you decide to move back to Honduras. Take us through your journey through those early years. Tell us about your journey at the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. What an honor to be here, and humbling to see so many great energy in this room, people wanting more, and not only for themselves. I think that's one of the keys. So thank you. Oh, let's see. There are many things to say. And yes, I think we can never forget that we are human beings. We want everything in life. And when you graduate from college, you want to eat the world by little pieces. So you want everything. You want to go and make a difference. And I wasn't different. I wanted to succeed in my career. I wanted to be the best in everything. I call it eighth passenger in my house. So I needed to fight to get the attention of my parents, of my older sisters and brother. But then I left home when I was 16. I went to learn English, and then I started my undergrad, and I decided to do my master's. Then I did my professional training in Houston. And one vacation, I was going home. It was New Year's Eve, and yes, I'm gonna share some personal stories that really have shaped my life. And I think we should never forget. We are human beings. We want things. We have families. We have friends, and everything that we do, everything affects somebody else's life, not only yours. So, well, I was going on vacation that December. I met my first boss in the airplane. I started to work when I was 12, all my summer vacations, because I wanted more. You know, I was a daughter of a banker, and my dad always said, education, health, and food is basics. The rest, you have to work for it. And so I did, you know, and my vacations and worked with this company for many years during my breaks. And it really shaped my temperament, who I am. So he told me, what are you doing? I said, no, I'm working in Houston. And he goes, are you ready to come back? I said, no yet. However, my decision was not made until I got home, and my brother had a car accident, and we lost him. So things changed. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to call and tell this person I'm ready to go back. I didn't think about my career. I thought about the need of my parents to have me back. And I said, you know, I'm the youngest one. How I left when I was 16, I was 23 at that time. And then I said, I think it's time for me to go back and be there. And I made the best decision in my life. And I took it without thinking a moment on myself. And that turned back to great opportunities, great blessings. Of course, this was, I already told you my age, 30 years ago, 30 plus. So decisions will shape your life and the people around you. And I think that my parents needed that. My country needed that too. And I started to bring all that energy, everything that I learned, to bring it to my country. And so that's it.
Amazing. And then you take the job at Citi. I think I remember you telling us you had an interesting, you began really at the very entry level. And we all know as women to go from an entry level to go all the way up to be the first local woman to head up Citi in Honduras. Tell us about kind of what lessons you learned. Perhaps what did you expect? What didn't you expect? And what drove you? What kind of inspired you? What gave you the opportunity to continue to go up to the top job?
Oh, let's see. First, you have to think where you want to go. But besides that, you have to picture yourself 10 years ahead and then look back. What do you want to see? What legacy do you want to have when you leave? That people say, oh my God, she made a difference in my life. Oh my God, I remember when we had that conversation that I was really, almost giving up. And she came and told me that I could do it. So when you think about the impact that you want in your life, that will drive you to be the best version of yourself. It's hard. It's not easy. And Honduras, imagine 20 plus years ago, it was very, very male driven, still is.
She's trying to find a nice way to say it.
Okay. So it was hard. And financial system, men all over. So I was the first woman in the sitting at the board of directors of the banking association. In Honduras, the CEO was always somebody from abroad, and somebody that was a male. And my clients, they knew that somebody will come from outside before I got the position, and they will help them. But then, surprise, surprise, the head, it was me. And then try to get into their minds that now they had to come through me. It was hard. They always tried to say, well, we're going to call head office. And it was great that we support each other. And my boss will tell them, okay, what does Reina think about that? She's the first filter. So it's like, having somebody, I think you mentioned having somebody's back. And I think that's very important, supporting your team, and then prepare. You have to bring solutions to the table, not just because you are a woman. You got the job. No, let's face it. You got the job because you work hard, you prepare yourself. There are nights that you won't go to sleep. I had my baby, guys, and this was she's 22. She's going to be 22 in September. But I remember with these laptops that were this thick, I worked all my, pregnancy. And before she was born and after she was born, I will have the computer here. I was breastfeeding my baby. So you can have everything. Yes, you have to sacrifice. And you have to decide, what do you want? But prepare yourself and you know that you have to work really hard. Nothing comes easy. So if you want something, work for it and get ready.
I love that, the top job. So you are extremely successful, having a tremendous career, and you have a health issue. Your life changes dramatically due to this. Tell us about that experience of how it impacted your kind of view on work-life balance and the support systems that you mentioned that you learned are so important in life.
Well, yes, let's see. My youngest kid was 2, 6, and 8. And I was having fun. I was having fun at my job. Great husband, very supportive. a great support system in our countries. We have that blessing. We have people who help you, and that, and we shouldn't underestimate that. And a great company where I was working, that was City, and the news come, and doctor tells me that I have a very aggressive cancer, and that I need to have surgery uh, very fast. And here I am with a little one that looked at me. I couldn't believe it when I was hearing the news. I was on the phone, and he said, "We need to act fast." And the little one didn't even talk. He just looked at me. He goes, "Ma," and I was like, "Oh my God, if I die, who's going to take care of my kids?" I mean, my husband, yes, he can marry it again, but who's going to love my kids like a mother does? So that moment, I remember, and I tell you, as a human being, I prayed, and I said, "Okay, I might be ready to go, but what happens to my family? I don't want to die. I want to fight for this." And I remember my uncle calls me. He's a doctor in Chicago, and he said, "You need to understand that you might have metastasis, right? Because it's very aggressive, and it might have gone to everyone." And I said, "No, I won't." And he goes, "I don't want you to be like the ostrich that puts the head under the ground." I said, "No, I'm going to fight this. I have to live." And it might seem a little bit naive, but attitude in life is more than 50%. The technical part, you can learn. But what you have inside, nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can teach you. And you're the one who controls what you feel, what you do, and where you go. People can tell you whatever. And you are the one who's going to say, "Okay, thank you. I'm not telling you not to take feedback. I am a great feedback receiver. Sometimes I have to breathe very deeply." And I had those moments a lot in my career. So I called my family, and I invited them for lunch at a restaurant. It was a Friday. I got the news on Friday, and this was on Saturday, and I said, "I got some news to share. I have been diagnosed with cancer, but I have decided that I'm going to leave." And they looked at me like, "She's crazy." And what I want is, I don't want you to cry because I am alive. And I don't want to see tears around me because I don't want to cry. I want my energies to live, to fight for this. And I did the same with my other family, my beautiful family, my political family. And I did the same. And I remember my mother-in-law, her eyes were full of water. And I said, "Don't cry, because I really want to leave." And there were moments where I myself had to remember that conversation, that I wanted to cry when I saw my kids. And I said, "What am I going to do now?" And then I remember, I'm going to fight. And I remember the face of my kids. I remember that in Honduras, they didn't have that support in the medical at that time. I had to be treated in Houston. So I have to leave my kids and my husband and go to Houston and treat, have the treatment. And
one of the things I think that you mentioned, which I found so interesting, is when we go through these type of situations, we always think about the support system being the family. But something I found really fascinating was that you mentioned that you continue to work, and that while in Houston, and it was because of where you were that you were able to continue. So tell us a little bit about that.
And that is what I wanted to share with you. You decide where you go. You decide where do you want to land and give your energy, your passion, and all your talents. And that's corporate. Do they have the culture that you want? And I found that, and I confirmed, because I knew if not, I wouldn't have stayed that long, that Citibank was phenomenal to me. When I announced that I had to leave, that I had to go and have a treatment, they called me and they said, "Okay, your family needs you to be healthy, and we're going to support you. What do you need?" That was the question. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to stop working. I'm going to be in Houston. Can you help me to get a visitor's office in one of our offices there? And they did. And we're talking, this was 2010. This was 14 years ago. And they said, you can go and work there. And I had my meetings virtually, pre-pandemic, guys, 14 years ago. And it was phenomenal because I had the support system at home, a great husband. So your significant other, you have to think who you're going to decide to be with. Come on. So, and then the corporate where you land, the place where you give, it's a two-way street. Nothing comes free. You give, they give. And it's a beautiful encounter.
Exactly. I thought that was so interesting. So now you've been in Honduras 20 years. This is, to me, really interesting. You're thriving. You have a very successful career. The kids are thriving. You're home. I mean, you're eating home cooked meals, meaning, from your home country. I know how important that is. And then an opportunity comes your way to take arguably one of the most important jobs in international banking. You get a call from the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington, D.C., and you decide to take the job and uproot your entire life to D.C. So what to me is fascinating is one of the things that I really admire here is you seem to have a real good grasp on decision making and embracing change. Two things that I know it's very difficult for me, as my team knows, and I think very difficult for so many of us. How did you make that decision to uproot your entire life, and was it the right one?
The answer for the last one, I'm going to start the last. It was the best decision. It was the right one. At that moment, it was the right one. And I look back and I don't regret it for a minute. Phenomenal. It was not easy to leave a place that I loved that much. And besides that, my career and my comfort. I was very comfortable. And this was in the middle of pandemic, guys. But also when they come and they say, well, are you up for this challenge? And I remember change will always be there. They will come. And you have two options, or deny it or embrace it. And change will be there. So you have to take it. Take whatever it comes. And at that moment, I said, okay, now is the time to serve my region, to support the bank's mission to improve lives in Latin America and the Caribbean. It was a hard decision. I got to tell you that when I resigned, tears came out of my eyes because I was leaving my comfort. It was, for something else. But at that moment, I saw what pandemic had done in the region. And I remember seeing a newspaper, the frontline newspaper that said, pandemic found Latin America naked. And I said, and here I am, sitting, very comfortable in the middle of pandemic. I saw how vulnerable the people was. And I'm being invited to go and serve my region. And I still have the nerve to maybe say no. I said, no way, I can't. And then I also saw that I always talk about we have to be example for the next generation. So I took the position we talked with the family, and my husband said, I can work anywhere from where I am, but this family will accompany you will support your decision. I will go with you if that's what you want. And I remember, I said, I'm from Honduras, a small country. There are a lot of people looking at you. So the yes, it was more than for me. Again, I was comfortable. I was happy. I wasn't planning to live anywhere. My kids had, we were doing well. Why? Why did I take the chance? Because leadership comes with responsibility. And I remember one of my daughter's friend had a car accident, and she also was gone. And in her funeral, that it was virtual, these girls was from Ecuador, and her parents were talking, and they said she always wanted to work at a multilateral entity to change the region and support the region. And that really hit my heart. I said, and I'm having that opportunity. So I'm doing it for me, my family, the next generation, and the women that they think that they cannot achieve something big. It is possible. Do not be afraid. And if you make a mistake, stand up and walk. It doesn't matter if you fall, if you fail. But you know what it matters? How do you pick up yourself? And you go like this. I say, okay, keep going. Even though if you inside are hurt, continue. And for them, for me and my family, happy to have embraced that beautiful change. I met beautiful people, talented people, and a bank that supports the region with a lot of passion.
She's still in DC, by the way. We are going to open it up for questions. I'm sorry we forgot to do that the whole day, but we do have microphones to start thinking. But before we open it up to the floor, so I know how important daughters are. Imagine your daughters are sitting here, because we do have a lot of young professionals. What would be 2 pieces of advice that you would give them? And I'd love to hear one professional and one for them as human beings, because I believe in both.
Perfect. It's a combination, a perfect combination. Professional, prepare yourself. Never stop learning. It doesn't matter if you think you know it all, you don't know it all. So always prepare for the meetings. Understand that there are going to be challenges, but understand that you have support. I mean, I love, your one call away, yes, just one call away, just call away, Jacka. Phenomenal. Be there. I had a lot of mentors. That supported me in my journey. So now it's time for you to give back. And it's never too young. When you're going to retire, as the major said, no way. Start now. And as a private sector, a lot of efforts, a lot of service can be done. Dignifying jobs. So you can start now, prepare yourself, work hard. Nothing will come easy. Guys, you need to work hard. And personal endurance, courageous, resilience. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to be yourself. You're a human being. I learned that very young. You are a human being and you're going to make mistakes. Learn from them. You said it was a bad experience. There is no one bad experience, because after you pass that bad experience, it moves to the right side column of the, oh my God, I learned a lot from that. So
absolutely. And be kind to yourself, which I find sometimes is difficult. So how about some questions, since we forgot to do that all day long? Anybody have some questions? Anybody want to be? Everybody's shy. Oh, right. Thank you. There is a microphone right there. You just have to press it. Thank you. And introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. Hi, I am Marcela Lopez. I'm traveling actually from Mexico City. I work for a telco company called MCM Telecom. I am also the presidenta de vinculación empresarial en IMEF, Instituto Mexicano de Ejecutivos de Finanzas, en todo México. Participo en Coparmex, Concamín, Canaco, y I'm going to say this question in both languages. By the way, I've been to your country, so I relate to some of what you've been saying. I noticed something very special about you, and I'm sure many of us have noticed that. But anyhow, I would like to know, I can see you're close to God, and you believe in God. I can sense it, see it. Can you share with us about that, if you don't mind, please?
thank you. What a question. Yes. And this is Reina Irene Mejía. As human being, I do believe in God. I couldn't have gone through what I've been in my life without knowing that. And without understanding that my strength, my knowledge. And when you're in moments of stress, we all have stress. So everybody finds their own center. And I found mine, and I'm going to share about mine. It was my understanding that I needed to learn from what I was living, and that there's always people around you that they can be with you. So yes, and everybody has to understand who they are and what is expected from them, and be happy with what you decide to do. So yes, but I am close to God, and I do pray, and I do get peace from it. That's how I found my source of happiness. Let's call it that way.
Thank you. Any other questions, anybody? Okay, I have one over here. Do you want to use the, yes, use the microphone. Thank you. And introduce yourself. We'd love to know who you are.
Anita Natskova, Metronic. So amazing energy, and obviously it is grounded on something. How do you maintain it at this high level, positive level, and intoxicating others? Thank you.
Oh my God, that was, yes. Thanks for that question. You know, well, since I was very little, I had a lot of energy, and I am thankful for the energy I have. In the morning when I wake up, I'm an early bird, and I go to my kids. I say, "Good morning, good morning." And my kids go, "Mom, mom, it's too early. It's 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Please don't." But it keeps, just, I guess it comes from the fact since I was little, but I think it reinforced when I got sick. I was intubated in an artificial respirator, and probably I was, my husband calls it the dark night. So I was near to death. So I was 1 week in intensive care in Houston in the Texas Heart Institute, and when you get out of that, you know that every morning is a new day to begin, that you have the blessing to see a new sun rise. So is there a problem? Yes. Does it have solution? Yes. If you're alive, you can do everything. The only thing that doesn't have a way out is death. And we're all going to die. So today, enjoy today. Make a difference, not only in your life, but in everybody's life. I'm sorry to tell you, but you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. And I don't want to be fatalist. I want you to enjoy every sunrise, enjoy every day you work. Don't complain. I remember my friends said, "Oh, my helper left." And I say, "So what? You have hands. I mean, girls, you have a problem? Pick up the things, do it, and move on." So that's it, yeah. And I remember a coworker used to tell me, "Reina, you have so much energy. Calm down." I said, "Okay, let's breathe, but let's execute. Do not worry about things. Act on them."
Now you see. Now you see, when I met her, I said, "You're coming to Miami with me." Any other questions? Yes.
Sorry. Hi, Reina. It has been a pleasure listening to you. And I appreciate your vulnerability so much. I think we are very hungry to hear more personal stories. So thank you for that. I am Claudia Rostaño. I work with FedEx. I'm a marketing director, marketing and communications director. I'm very curious talking about change and growth. How did you have to adapt your leadership style from working at a high position at Citibank to working at IDB? So I'm very curious about that.
Thank you for the question. Yes, and change comes every day. And I go back to say, you're going to have it no matter what. Or you cry and say, "No, I'm not going to take it," but it's going to hit you, or you embrace it. And leadership changes every day and in every circumstance. When you're in city, the culture. When I got into the IDV was a different culture. So you need to learn what the culture of the place where you're going is and respect it. Your culture is not the culture. You bring your things as a human being, as a professional with your technical part, but you're landing in a place that has already a culture. And you cannot come and try to change the culture. That's a beautiful change, a culture. You go and try to immerse yourself without sacrificing who you are. Try to get and take the best of that culture. Try to embrace the good things. And as in any place, there are things that you're not going to like, but respect them. And that's diversity. And you don't need to change yourself to or compromise yourself just to fit in a culture. No, just we are, I always say, a mosaic, a beautiful piece with different pieces. Everybody's different. So yes, you have to adapt your style. I'm not always right. And the day that we think that we're right, or that what I believe is the right thing, that day you're out. So you have to respect, you have to value, you have to understand, and walk, in there. So yes, it was a big change. It was a big change in the middle of pandemic. It was a big change, move from to another country. My little kid, I'm going to tell you, he was 12, and he will come to my room at night and say, I am miserable in this country, Mom. I want to go back every night. And will cry and cry. And I said, we have to stick together. Family is not going to be separated. We'll stick to this, and we're doing this together. And I see a young adult now, well, no, he's a teenager, but has embraced change now amazingly. And I look back and I say, he made it, So it is hard. It's not easy. No, it's not easy. They were nice that I said, am I crazy? Oh my God. But then I remember leadership has responsibility. As women, if we're sitting here, if we have opportunities, you cannot do it bad. You have to do it well because they're giving us an opportunity.
Okay, I have two hands, so we're going to very quickly, because we're out of time. So quick questions, we'll take both of them, and maybe she'll answer both of them real quickly. Yeah, yeah.
I love to talk.
I know.
Hi, Reina, thank you so much. Amazing. My name is Isabel Montes, and I am the Human Resources Vice President for Newmont. We are a gold mining company, so I'm a gold digger, in case you are wondering.
That does not sound good in
All right.
Miami. Kidding.
And my question is about, and it's a follow-up question about the adapting and right, you get to a new company, you have to respect where you are getting. I worked for Starbucks for 20 years, and then I moved to mining, so you can imagine the shift. And I joined mining because I want to be part of a change, part of a movement of bringing another type of people practices to the mining industry where women can have a space. So how do you kind of balance, right? Adapting while you are trying to be an agent of change.
Okay, change doesn't happen overnight, and change doesn't happen when you force it. And that's where leadership comes in, influence, and bringing value added to the table. And try not to just adapt and forget who you are and just follow, the flow. No. Respect, continue, but bring specific things that make a difference to the table. It's technical part, and that's what I tell you. You need to prepare yourself. You need to continue, and learning from the experience. So,
Reina, I think you need to write a book or start a podcast, and you have 120 people in the room that will follow you automatically. So thank you. Thank you so
very
much for joining us.
Thank you.